Is the bottom in for Bitcoin? Most people have a pretty good idea of that. Maybe you don't. And I got to be surprised. I got to be surprised with you. I got to be honest with you. The market's not really giving me too many curveballs, at least certainly not on the Bitcoin side. But the sentiment, the mixed signals and the sentiment amongst traders just really boggles my mind sometimes. This graphic right here, I think, really explains perfectly. It illustrates perfectly what my thought process is here. Are we going up and up and up? Or are we going to see a dip, a support test, maybe even a correction before we get back to real all-time high territory? That's what we're going to find out here. That's what we're going to climb into here in today's live stream. Hey, guys, my name is Keith Allen. Hope everybody had a great weekend. Hope you did not get shaken out through any of the volatility. And hope you got your eye on the prize here and have a good strategy for what we have before us. As per usual, live chat is open, so I would love to have you join me. If you're able to do so, if you have questions, I'll do my best to answer them. If you have comments or insights you want to share, would love to hear them. Always enjoy engaging with you guys. If you are watching the recorded version and can't actually, chime in on the live chat, go ahead and drop a comment, whether you're watching on YouTube or you're watching on the X platform, and I will engage with those later in the day. But again, really appreciate you guys. You're the ones that make this thing, and engaging with you guys is what makes these the most fun and the most valuable, quite frankly. So by all means, don't be shy and chime on in. Also, if you'll do me a favor before we start, smash some buttons, help me grow the channel, hit the like, hit the subscribe, especially that little bell up there on the side so you don't miss any of the future streams, and drop a comment. Those comments really help the algo, really help me grow the channel. So please keep on doing that. And again, I really appreciate all that ongoing support from you guys. Let's go ahead and climb into the charts today and show you what I'm looking at here. We obviously had some volatility over the weekend, and I want to start actually on the macro, with a macro view of Bitcoin. So let's start over here. And I've also got a new indicator that I've been working with that I want to share with you guys. Still in testing, but I got to tell you, I've taken it to live trades with this thing, and I'm impressed, and I'm pleased, and it's rapidly making its way to my list of favorite indicators. So I'm going to start here on the Bitcoin. I'm on the daily chart right now. We'll zoom out here in a minute, but let's start right here. Okay, this is my Bitcoin chart. We've been looking at this for a long time. You'll notice a couple of green lines here that you may not have noticed before. This is the new timescape levels indicator that my partner, Fred, aka Material Scientist, has been working on. And he and I have been testing this for, a good month or so, maybe closer to 2 months. And it's been pretty rock solid consistent. What we're seeing here on this is in this view, I have yearly opens and first week of the year opens highlighted right here. These seem to be really, really important over time. And if you look through history, you'll see where they have served as resistance and support zones a lot of times. And if I actually expanded this out and added the quarterly view, those also seem to have some significance. And that gives us even more areas to look at. You can see where we consolidated here above this this annual open, the 2025 open right here. This has really been the key one that we're watching here at the moment. But just wanted to give you a quick overview of what this indicator is showing us, and how consistent it has been in helping us find resistance and support. And one of the ways it does that, or one of the ways I've been using it anyways, has been to find confluences between other indicators like moving averages and trend lines with those timescape levels. I'll give you more on that in a little bit, but for now, I want to focus on the annual opens rather than the quarterlies, so we can clean this chart up a little bit and look at where we sit in the trend. So let me zoom out a bit, right? Because we talked about, where we sit in the macro versus where we sit in the shorter term. And in my opinion, the macro, I'm even going to turn timescapes off here for a second. In my opinion, the macro is I think is as healthy as it's been, right? We have a lot of positive news coming out. We have a lot of interest in Bitcoin from both institutions, as well as now sovereign nations who are interested. We also have more states in the U.S. are adopting Bitcoin reserves. We also have more corporate participants who are budgeting for Bitcoin reserves in their treasuries as well. And we have, of course, a crypto-friendly administration here in the U.S. Shaping the regulatory environment, and there is active legislation going through Congress, really as we speak, trying to facilitate a good framework for regulatory infrastructure here in the U.S., which is, been a hurdle for us for a long time. So what we have here on this view is the lifetime channel for Bitcoin, or at least what I call the lifetime channel for Bitcoin. And this dates back to, back in 2013, really, where this parallel channel started. And I'll call this the modern era, if you will. We obviously broke out of this for the first time in the 2022 bear market, and found a bottom at the, interestingly, right around that 2017 top. This was at the 16K level. This was actually the FTX crash that took us all the way down here. And at the time that it was happening, we presumed, or at least I did presume, that these were bear market rallies until we started, finding these consolidations and breaking up further. At some point, you could stick to your guns and go bear market rally, but when price is going up and up and up and up, it's hard to stick to that. So you've got to be nimble enough to move with the market and adjust. So from this point, this was not in any indication for me a sign that the bull market was on from here. In fact, from this point, I really thought the price was going to go lower down into this 13.8 range. So even though I bought here, and I'm glad to say that I haven't sold everything I bought at this range. I sold more than I wished I had at this point, but I did hold a little bit from this range, and this is where I started building my long-term Bitcoin hodl position from. Okay, so and this brings us to an important distinction between investing and trading. And if you're investing, a dollar cost averaging approach, buying in these consolidation zones, that's a pretty tried and true method right there. And that's what I've done. That's what I've done all along the way, starting at this 15.5 level. And I built myself a position in Bitcoin that I intend to hang on to with a nice average entry in a very comfortable spot that I think is well above any corrections we're going to see in this bull market. Yes, I said we are in a bull market. So that's my thought at the moment. Oh, looks like we got some comments coming in. Crypto Pat says you can't see the screen. Can you see it now? Because I see it. If you can't see it, let me know. But it's up from my view. So, and Marcus Willie, listen, this isn't the place to shill. You're going to move it right along, buddy, because that's not what we do here. You're going to shill your shit, go take it someplace else. And if you think you're going to get me to, share your comments while you shill your shit, you're clearly mistaken. So anyways, I think that this is healthy. And what we've yet to see now at this point is whether, how Bitcoin is going to progress from here. Are we going to make it back in to this lifetime channel? And that's really the looming question for me. Is Bitcoin going to make it back into this lifetime channel, or are we going to grind along the lower side of this for an extended period of time? Either case gets us a higher price Bitcoin, so that's a good thing. But in my opinion, this changes kind of the trajectory that we're on. So we have some uncertainty, obviously, around the economy and tariffs. But it seems to me that the tariff situation is going to, we're still in this so-called 90-day negotiating period. But it seems to me that this has been a negotiating strategy all along, as I said it has been, and that the final number is likely to end decidedly lower than the numbers that were put out, that were forecast, or not forecasted, but presented back in April. And that's when we had a big, our biggest correction here was right around here when those tariffs were first announced in the early early part of April. And so I think at this stage, to answer the question on the title of the show, I do think that the bottom is in. Now, does that mean that we can't dip lower? Of course not, right? You can never say never or always in this game. And so, sure, we could have any number of catalysts, whether they're economic, whether they are geopolitical, or whether the president or his family wants to utter some statement or another to manipulate the market, as they have done, including the moves to here and back again, then so be it, right? Anything can happen. But I do think that from a macro perspective, that the bottom is in here at the 76K level. And I do think that we could, quite honestly, I think that we need to, for this to be sustainable, I think it would be healthy to have a accurate support test at the 100K level, which we haven't had. We've come, some would argue whether it's close enough. We went to $100,764. $750 away from a solid support test. Is it enough? It's questionable, in my opinion. I would have liked to see it go lower. If it was sub, within $500, then I'd feel a lot better. And if it was within $200, I'd be even, perfect, right? But this is what we have at the moment. And so what I would like to see is that support test bring us back down to this 100K level. Now, when we got this pump yesterday that took us up to 106,600, and then today we went to 107,000. This is a little bit of a how should I say, a whammy on the indicators that are showing us that things are maybe losing bullish momentum, and that we should see a test of support. And these, the declining volume. So here's a couple signs. Let's set some of the normal indicators aside. The declining volume, right? A rally and big price action on declining volume is rarely sustainable. That's number one. But look at what's happened here. We have, how many days is this? 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12 days, almost 2 weeks, where this 102, high 102s, this is 102.8K, is holding as support. And that's interesting to me, because it doesn't really include not a ton of confluence, right? We did have some history here, right? We did when Bitcoin initially broke 100K way back in November of 24, right? It was really, the Trump pump off of election day that got us up here, and we saw price move up above 100K briefly, but we just could not sustain that, right? They weren't holding. We had all these wicks below and candles, and they broke down. And so we had this dip, we had a consolidation down here around and then of course the yearly open, which was at that 93.3 level. And then we consolidated above that for quite some time. We even broke back above 100K briefly. But again, it was wick below, wick below, wick below, another wick below, another wick below, and another one, couple of candles up above, and then we started wicking below again. And things ultimately broke down. And we had these, series of death crosses between the 21-day moving average, that's the green one, and all the other key moving averages. Now, after we double bottomed in April on the tariff. The tariff announcement is what brought us to that double bottom, right? And we have now started to see an unwinding of the death crosses with golden crosses. We've had the 21 golden cross, the 50, the red 50, and the blue 100 and the purple 200. We just had the red 50 golden cross with the blue 100, and now it's going to golden cross with the 200 here in the next few days. And so as we unwind these, these moving averages are lagging indicators, but they're showing you the upward momentum, the bullish momentum, and the momentum tends to continue. Maybe not the instant of the cross, right? That shakes some people out, but ultimately these crosses tend to continue. The momentum tends to continue as we're seeing here. So I would love to see still a support test. And if it came down to the 100K level or even the 21-day moving average, this would all be beautiful to me. I think this is a good solid area for that. And then I'd be happier seeing the, this consolidation out of here and then go after the all-time high, and where we go from there remains to be seen. In my opinion, if we can get this move, right? If we can get this support test around here and then work our way back up and break the all-time high, then that would put us, in my opinion, on a great trajectory. A couple things that I'll show you here. One is, if we just went with fib retracement, kind of a setup, that would look something like this. Not that one. That would look something like from the all-time high down to the swing low with the double bottom. That would put us, conceivably with a high at that 130 level. If you remember, we had a cup and handle down here that I had talked about a potential 122.5K level. I think we're going to go higher than that 122. I think we could be in that 122 to 130, 125 to 130 range very easily. But with a lot of the speculation that we're hearing about the institutional demand and the sovereign demand and the corporate reserves and the U.S., doing a federal digital asset reserve, really, we could be into much, much higher numbers. Whether we get there this cycle or not, I think has a lot of dependency on what happens with the economy, has a lot of dependency on where these tariffs settle, has a lot of dependency on what happens in Ukraine and what happens in Gaza. If we can get these things resolved and the world can take a deep breath and we can get the economics right, then really price could go much, much higher. And in terms of where we go in the near term, again, my first targets are going to be these fib levels, these fib extensions. The 1.6 would be at 130. I'll be watching that cup and handle to see if we pause around that 122 level. And I do have that chart somewhere. Let's see if I can find that one for you really quick, and I'll show that. Let's open the cup and handle. Okay, so here we had marked what a measured move would look like, and this is like classic technical analysis. This thing has gone a long time, so I'd never really seen a cup and handle that went as long as this one took to build the cup. I mean, this was over 2 years, like 2.5 years, and so now the handle's really extended out. Was this the top? Is it done, or are we really looking at a potential breakout into this level? So this seems very attainable to me. This is a measured move, 77% from the rim of the cup to the bottom of the cup, and then this would be from the bottom of the cup, or excuse me, from the rim of the cup up the same 77%, has us somewhere in this 122, 123 range. I'm not exact here, but you get the idea. But that fib extension is very close by, right? So somewhere in this range could be our top. But if things develop in a positive manner, then we could conceivably see this 2.618, which gets us up to 165 and change, 165K and change here. And what's interesting about that is, depending on where we go, at some point is there confluence with this longer term trend. And this is that lifetime channel that I showed you, same channel I showed you on the other chart. This could, if we get rejected from here, obviously if we get rejected from any of these fib extensions, then that would be it. But if price can make it back into this channel, then that opens the door for some tremendous price discovery, in my opinion. If we just made it to the top of if we just made it into the channel, that's a 150% move from the breakout, basically from last year's, or from the last bull market high, not last year, but from the 2021 top. And if we could get in here and keep this, in this cycle, if we can break in here in this cycle, then we have, serious potential for some serious upside. It's very rare that we hit the top of this thing, but people talk about the limited potential on Bitcoin. And I would say that if Bitcoin is able to make it back into that level, then and it has hit before, right? We've got two other occasions where we've topped out here at this level. It's how this channel was built. So conceivably, if that did happen, think about what that would mean for Bitcoin. It would mean a healthy 7-figure asset. And that's really what we're all hoping for at this point, right? Oh man, the spammers are coming in with this shitcoin token. Really love having you guys on the platform. You really do you really do the space well. Don't worry, they'll all be banned when it's done, and they're not going to make it to the stream. So this is, in terms of lower targets, I think that 122 to 125 range is the low hanging fruit. I think 130 is quite possible, and I think even higher is possible. But we really have to see what the health of the trend, what the health of the market and the economy is as things develop from here. Now, in the short term, let's go back to, or the near term, I should say, let's go back to the original chart here and look at what I think is playing out. I'm going to go ahead and remove this fib extension. You guys got the idea there, right? So again, I want to see this retracement. I want to see, not a retracement, but I want to see a support test here. We may not get it, but I would say that if we don't get it, before we go to the all-time high, I still think it's coming. So be prepared for that. And again, if you're a long-term investor and you're already in, you're in a good spot. If you're a long-term investor and you're still building your position, look for opportunities. Look for those support tests, or use a tool, an indicator to help you find those levels. One I like, of course, I'm partial to it, is the MTF mean reversion indicator. Use this to help you. Why am I so blown out? Can't find it. Use this one to help you find some spots, right? As it did this morning. I took some entries, small ones, to add to my position. This is a great indicator for that. Mean reversion. Take it from these dips from mean, and then bounce back. And that's exactly what price is doing. One way or another, you want to make sure that you are finding your entries by either using technical analysis or even just doing a time-based TWAP, just so you're continuing to add. I will tell you that time spent in the market is much better. I know it sounds cliche, but timing the market is really, really tough, especially when things are the way they have been. Um, Now, if you're trading, that's another situation, right? You're trading, you use an indicator like this, you're in, you take your profits and you're out, right? So this is already a um, pretty decent move for half the day, 3.5%. If you're a scalper, take the money and run. If you're using this to accumulate on longer term, you can set this for a deeper deviation and wait for those deeper dips to come. This is a pretty shallow one right here. But you can set this at any level you want. We just have not had a tremendous amount of volatility of dips from Bitcoin that have taken us way too deep beyond those lower deviation settings that I'm using right now. Now, I want to take you back to this timescapes indicator that I've been using, and I've been using it on Bitcoin, and I've been using it on alts as well. And it's been remarkable. I don't know another way to describe it other than to say it's been pretty remarkable. So this is Ondo, and one that I did. I got into this one I think a week or so ago. I took some profit up here, was happy about that, but I left the trade open, and things started to grade. I had a trailing stop loss that slid up to keep it profitable, and it closed on this dip. And so it was a nominally profitable trade. Still profitable, didn't lose money, all good things. So happy about that. And I could buy back in right now if I chose to do so. But I am not chasing it. I didn't get this order. I didn't get it when it came right here. If I had been watching at the time, I probably would have taken this. But I now have an order set for down in this range, and if price goes back there, I'll take it and see if we could take another run and either take it back up here to the 200-day moving average or potentially break this channel and move up. But what helped me decide what I was going to do here was this timescapes indicator. And you see I have it set to yearly and quarterlies. So it's showing me the yearly opens, the quarterly opens, and the first week of the year and the first week of the quarter. And here we can see this was the quarterly open right here. We're well above that. But the yearly open is an inflection point. Yearly open was up here at what, like $1.34, something like that. Yeah, $1.34. And we've not been in that range since February. So what we're seeing out of this indicator is when price is below the yearly open, you're really in a, for lack of better terms, buy the dip, sell the rip environment. Now, if you get a macro level entry like you get down here, like down here, then that's one that you can hold on to and play it as long as you want, as long as you identify your targets and I would look to the current year open as a spot that's going to be strong technical resistance. You can see there's also some confluence with that level here. So I would say that would be a good spot for at least a partial TP. And then if we break it, then we get to go, higher and higher. You would have another line of resistance at the first week of the month open, and then going back to your all-time high, and then it's a fib extension to go from there. But since I didn't get in here, and I got in like I think around here on my original one, and sold up here my first piece, and then I sold the rest. I don't know, somewhere down here. Actually, when we lost the 21 moving average, I think is where I sold. So again, I'm looking for that entry, but I'm not going to force it. I'm not going to rush it. If I get it, great. If not, then I'll look for another setup or another entry. But this timescapes, it works really consistently. I'm going to show you another coin, similar set of circumstances, right? LTC USD. LTC, USDT. Obviously a dyno coin with a lot more history to it, right? So you see a lot of quarterlies, a lot of annual lines here that, and where you have deeper concentrations of them, where you have more of those lines, I think that builds some strength in those areas in terms of resistance and support. But what has been the most effective for me, and I want to actually I want to go back and show you this on the Ondo chart because I had it illustrated perfectly. We'll come back to this one in a second. Um, what really did this for me was the confluence between the support levels and between the moving averages, right? So was it on the weekly that we had confluence? Where was it? I was just looking at this earlier. I might be confused with another coin. Let's see. I posted something on this today on X. So let's see what that was. Maybe here we go. I was using the new timescape levels, and what is this chart showing me? This was the daily chart. Oh, it was chain link. That's what it was. Here's one I did take this morning, and it was because I can show you. I guess we can see it good enough here. It was because we have this confluence here between the, this was actually the 2024 yearly open, but you see the 21 moving average up here. You see the trend lines. Just there was a lot of confluence in this area that gave me added confidence in this level. Now, had I not been using timescapes, I would have been questioning, is the 21 going to hold? Is it going to be the blue 100? Is it going to be the blue 50? I'd be speculating which one was more likely. But because I had some confluence between this 100-day moving average and the timescape level and the trend lines and the trend precognition, A1 slope lines showing more upward momentum, I took this trade right here, and I'm glad I did. So that's just kind of in a nutshell what I'm looking at there. I just told you that we would look at Litecoin, and let's see if there's anything on Litecoin that points to that. Okay, so yeah, we have support down here around the 200 week moving average. We have some confluence with that timescape level. So just another example of why I like this. Just helps me gain some confidence and conviction in some of the levels that I'm identifying. Wouldn't be right for us to do one of these without taking a look at the order book and order flow on fire charts. So here's a look at the Bitcoin chart. And as you can see, resistance is building around that 110K level, or 0.110 million, as they say in the new regime, right? While we're all looking for multi-million-dollar Bitcoin. But in terms of getting that support test, here's one of the things I was pointing to, right? I want to see that support test go back down towards 100K. And at the moment, you can see we've cleared out a lot of liquidity here. So there's not a lot holding price up right now. We do have, I told you, that 102K level has been holding pretty strong lately. And so we've got some bids stacking in that level, and that very well may keep price from dipping all the way down to 100K. There's a little bit of insulation here. But I would really like to see price go back in this direction before we get that move past the all-time high into that, which is currently around 109, right? So, but we talked about also that 120 level, right, on that cup and handle, and we've got a lot of ask liquidity stacked there as well. So these are all things I'm watching in concert to make my decisions moving forward. But I do think that the macro outlook looks really good. I do think that the bottom for this cycle is in, and as much as I'd like to see a dip back to support, I don't know if we'll get it. I think that makes for a healthier move. I'd rather see it sooner than later than have a have another fake out, and then have a bunch of people get wrecked. I don't want to see you getting wrecked. But again, if you're in this for as a long-term investment, don't get shaken out. Don't mind the dips. Just let it go. If you are trading, you got opportunities in both directions. They're coming at you just about every day. And with that, guys, I'm going to wrap it. If you're interested in any of the tools I'm sharing, you'll find links to them in the description of the video. Of course, you can always find it at materialindicators.com, and links on the MI algos. The X channel is MI_algos. And of course, my personal channel, I've got links to everything as well. So thanks again for your continued support. If you haven't done so yet, make sure you smash that like button and share this video. If you found it insightful, share it with some of your buddies, your trading friends, and in the trading communities that you're in, and spread the love. All right, guys, have a great day. Let's have a great week. Make it a profitable one. And more importantly than making money is not losing any. Hang on to your stack.